Depression is devastating. When someone is suffering from depression, their entire life is blown apart. It can be a massive struggle just to make it through each day. But they aren't the only ones who struggle. The people who are often forgotten are the loved ones of a person with depression. No one tells them how to cope. They don't know what to do. I would like to try and offer some advice to those people. Knowing somebody you love is struggling with depression leaves you feeling incredibly helpless. You feel if you could say the right thing or do something special that maybe you would be able to help them get better, but you don't know what to say and you don't know what to do. You try a gentle approach, you try a firm approach. You give them space, you try and get them to open up. You suggest things that can help, you buy them presents, you say encouraging things. You get frustrated and argue, yet nothing you do seems to make any difference. From my experience, the big mistake that people often make is that they treat depression as a mood, as if saying or doing the right thing will lift the depression. What you must remember is that depression isn't a mood. It's a very debilitating illness. If somebody had a broken leg, you wouldn't tell them to go for a run. You would understand that it will take time, rehabilitation and patience. When the leg heals and you can walk again, it still can take weeks for it to regain full strength. It may never be as strong again. Depending on how bad the break was, it may alter how you walk, what exercise you can do, even how you stand. Your leg may never be the same again. This is exactly what depression is like. Just because you can't see an injury doesn't mean it isn't debilitating. After one of my worst bouts of depression, it took months before I felt I could do my job properly. Even now, years on, I'm not the same as I was. This is because my depression completely changed my entire outlook on life, and it changed who I was as a person. When someone's loved ones are battling depression, when they are in that darkness, human nature is to try and fix them. For a lot of people, this approach won't work. Whilst there are things you can do, like giving the day a routine and trying to find activities to keep the person's mind active, you are not going to be able to make someone snap out of it. It's not that simple. Try to imagine that depression is like being in a dark tunnel. The person with depression can't see a thing because everything is surrounded by darkness. Every sound is amplified. Every fear is magnified. All they want to do is get out of the tunnel, but they can't see where to go. They don't know what to do. Your natural reaction is to lead them out of this dark tunnel back to the light. This is the wrong approach. You may think it makes sense, but for the person with depression, nothing makes sense. That's the nature of the illness. They can't be led out of the tunnel because the fear is too great. The darkness is too dark. Trying to drag them out of the tunnel is more likely to make them curl up and hide than do any good. For men in particular, this approach can backfire greatly. Men, by their very nature, are trained not to talk about their issues. We have been told, since the moment we could understand, that men don't ask for help. It has been ingrained upon our very psyche that to show weakness or vulnerability is to go against everything that defines what being a man is. It doesn't matter that those stereotypes are hopelessly wrong and decades out of date. The instinctual reaction for a male is to insist that they don't need help, that they can manage by themselves. Indeed, any pressure on a man to open up or to accept help often backfires. Men revert into themselves, put up emotional barriers and shut down. You can't force anyone to open up at the best of times, and pressuring a man when he's at his lowest ebb will create more problems than it solves. What you need to do is be there for them. If they talk, just listen. Don't talk, don't give them opinions, just really listen. When I was at my worst, everybody I tried to talk to would give me an opinion on how I could make things better. The thing was, I wasn't asking for an opinion. I just wanted to relay how I felt, and for the person to listen, give me a hug and reassure me that however long it took, they would stay in the darkness with me until I found my own way out. Yet no one listened. They talked, and they advised, and they suggested, and they tried to help, but they didn't listen. That, more than anything, is what you need to do. Sit with your loved one, let them talk. However upsetting or shocking what they say is, don't give them advice, just listen. When they finish, hug them, tell them you love them, and that however long it takes, you will be there until they find the strength to get better. You will never be able to lead someone out of the dark tunnel. All you can do is stay in the tunnel with them until they feel strong enough to lead themselves out. Yes, it's hard. In many ways, hearing my loved ones tell me about their darkness was worse than living in my own. Yes, it's often thankless. And yes, at times you will feel rejected, but don't give up on your loved ones. Support them, love them, and be there for them until they find the strength to get better. And most of all, when they do talk, just listen.